All right, welcome everybody to the Kingdom Politics Podcast. I'm Pastor Will and Dr. Huffman with me as always. And today we are going to update everybody on what is going on with the uh, Democrats after the Virginia Supreme Court ruling on the redistricting. So the Supreme Court came back, I think it was Friday, right?
Yes.
And
10 a.m.
and they shot down the redistricting effort, said it was unconstitutional. Same things we said. Well, when did we start this? Like February?
Yeah.
Same things that we said way back in February. Early voting is voting and it counts, and they have to start all over again. They were not super happy with that decision. Oh, and most of the judges are Democrat.
Yes.
That should be pointed out because there's a lot of things that we're going to go into some of the things they're trying to do. But to be clear, most of the judges on the Supreme Court are Democrats.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Did you read the brief?
Yeah.
All 46.
No, not all of it, but
that's where AI comes and just copy and paste it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, some of the I actually, in fact, we put a VAIB put out a capital alert about it, I think yesterday. About I read both the majority opinion and the dissenter's opinion, and of course it's public information, anybody
Right.
can go read it. But it's interesting how when I was on the radio yesterday, the host asked me about that as well, and I said, it's interesting how even the most elite legal mind, which I would say if you're a Supreme Court justice, either United States or state, you're pretty much an elite legal mind. But it's incredible, Will, how an elite legal mind can be duped because they want a policy to go a particular way, how they can view law so incorrectly and then argue so poorly that my constitutional class 101 literally could have debunked what the dissenters on the Virginia State Supreme Court ruled, not because obviously the students in my constitutional law class and soon to be our constitutional law class 101 are smarter than the Supreme Court justice. We're not saying that, but when you are bound to an ideology instead of a constitutionality, you can try to leap all you want to, but the thing about it is, as Andy Griffith used to say, that dog just won't run. I probably butchered that. I don't think Andy actually said that, but it sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, the ideology, and then this is what we're talking about. There's no such thing. Former Governor Youngkin said it. I don't know where it was, Fox News or something. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat anymore.
No.
And that's really what people need to start understanding is that, and particularly Christians and pastors, why we're so passionate about getting people out there and involved is because they have zero qualms going against what the Constitution says. They'll call it all kinds of cool things like the will of the people, but they rigged the entire thing. So if people don't know, the thing that I found most fascinating about it is what the Supreme Court said after the ruling. Well, actually, it's in the ruling that it was the Democrats who said don't hear this case until after the election.
Yeah.
Because I remember even you and I talked about, well, why is the Supreme Court not stepping in? Well, it turns out that the Democrats asked them not to.
Yeah, they did. And they did quote some, I did some research, and they did quote some legal precedent from a 1912 Supreme Court case where the Supreme Court in 1912, I can't remember the case name, but the Supreme Court refused to interfere in an election. That was the precedent that's all the precedent that the Democrats needed. And like you and I've said before, Will, they were hoping that the citizens of the Commonwealth were going to get them off the hook.
Yeah. They were hoping for an overwhelming majority voting yes, and that's not what happened.
No.
It was less than 3 percentage points difference in the votes.
Yeah.
And for people that are upset, they're probably not listening to this show, but If you do, thank you. Honestly, I tell people all the I talked to a person yesterday. I'm all about conversation and I'm all about
Yeah.
talking. So if you do listen, thank you. But you have to have rules.
Yeah.
And you have to have, we already do. We already have a state constitution. Has nothing to do with President Trump.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with anybody but the state of Virginia. And you have to follow them.
Yeah.
And so they didn't. And the Supreme Court struck it down. And people will, and that's where you know that the arguments can't hold weight because it's never about policy and it's never about anything other than they should just start spouting off ideological claims that have nothing to do with anything. The will of the people. Well, 1.3 million people voted in early voting. Did they check with those people
Right.
before they did it?
Right.
Did they call each one and say, "Hey, by the way, we're going to go ahead and do this. I know you already voted, but we wanted to double check with
Yeah.
you." Will of the people. No,
Yeah.
they didn't do that.
No, and they intentionally hid information from the voters. Because they knew that this wasn't going to be popular. And even though it technically passed by 88,000 votes, which by the way is not a lot when you consider the number of votes that were cast.
Yeah.
88,000 isn't a lot, and they pretty much came from one county. One city, Fairfax.
Yeah, Fairfax as always.
Because I did find it interesting that they are, you guys, they got 235 or 265 districts in Fairfax. That's insane.
Yeah, all of Fairfax is insane.
It's insane, and for some reason they were the last county to get voted.
Yeah, they're always the last county to get voted every time. It's always Fairfax that's the last to get counted every single time. Why it takes them till 3 a.m, I have no idea. Because counties that are just as large count.
Right.
Geographically speaking, there's counties that are much larger than Fairfax that get all their votes in. Not granted, it's probably less people, but I would imagine the logistics of a large geographic county is probably a little more difficult than the number of people.
Right.
Plus, they use all those machines. It tells me I vote in Fairfax, and it tells me, you put your ballot in the thing, and it tells. I mean, whether it does or not, I have no idea. But the screen tells me that it's counted.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just counting it because I voted, or it's actually counting the vote. It's probably a dangerous. That's probably a wormhole or a rabbit hole you might not want to go down.
Yeah, might not.
I think everything should be hand counted. That's just me.
Yeah, had a lot less claims, a lot fewer claims of fraud back in the day when you just had to, instead of pushing a button, and you just had to flip a lever.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't remember those days.
No, I wasn't voting in those days. I fill in a little bubble with a pen.
Well, I do remember very brief moment in Virginia voting by computer, because I remember I would hit the screen with they had a pencil with an eraser on both ends, and I would tap the screen with that eraser. I remember very, very briefly doing that in the Commonwealth. Now, of course, we fill in a button and you fill in a bubble and you shoot it through and guess what? That was brought about by a Republican legislature because it's not entirely hack proof. But let me tell you something, folks. Once you can hook a voting machine to the internet, it can be hacked.
Oh, for sure. I'm not big on voting conspiracies. I'm not big, to be honest with you, I'm not really big on conspiracies until there's facts.
Right.
It's fun to discuss, I guess, but
I was down at Virginia Beach last Thursday night giving a talk with the city elders down there, and during our Q&A, a lady in the back asked me what my opinion was about those 35,000 fraudulent votes that appeared in Fairfax. Yeah. And my answer was, I don't get involved in conspiracy theories. And I wouldn't give her an answer.
Good
I
for
said,
you.
because the moment I get involved in a conspiracy theory, I said, my credibility is shot. And I said, I'll never get it back. Anything that once you sign on to a conspiracy theory that cannot at all be proven,
Yeah.
once you sign on to it, with some people, now there are always those people that are they live for conspiracy theories and
Oh,
they
yeah.
grab on every
Yeah.
one of them. You know, the aliens stole the 2020 presidential
Yeah.
election, you know, things like that. But for most people that are reasonably minded people, once you sign on, if you're a public figure like you and I are, once you sign on to a conspiracy theory, those people that just don't blindly buy into it, you'll never get your credibility back. They will always
Yep.
second guess what you say unless they've heard it from another source first that's trusted. So I don't answer questions in public or in private or on the internet. I don't answer questions about conspiracy theories. It's just not safe
No, and it's
and it's not beneficial for
no,
anybody.
it doesn't help anybody. It just furthers everything that we talk about. You can look it up. You can verify it. I tell people all the time when I preach, don't take my go
Check
double
us out.
check me.
Check us out. Yeah. Be
Read
like
the,
the Bereans in Acts 17.
yeah, read the scriptures for yourself. That's for any Christian. That's part of the problem with Christianity is people will listen to a pastor and that's yes, I'm
Mhm.
reading the word of God, but I am not the word of God
Right.
at all.
Right.
Now I try really hard. I do a lot of research. I put a lot of effort into everything that I do. So it's not like I don't, but again, I'm human. It's not like I don't make mistakes.
Well, yeah.
Um,
There are a lot of things that I was taught as a boy growing up in church that I'm not going to say are that are not heretical, obviously,
right.
but as an independent student of Scripture, a lot of those things just were not true. They were a man-made interpretation on typically on a verse stripped from its context, and given its own meaning, contrary to what the Bible says. Because you know as well as I do, Will, and I know you practice this when you study, is you can't just you got to look at passages in the context of the book, and you really got to look at the passages in the context of the entire Word of God,
Yes.
because you can't implement a truth in the New Testament that's contradicted in the Old.
Yeah.
God, that if that's what if that is contained in the Bible's credibility is shot. And but so you always have to interpret things in the light of its context. And so I mean I tell people when I preach, go check me out, make sure I would for the world deceive you on purpose, but
Yeah.
I'm human.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Never on purpose, but yeah, I tell people all the time. That's why you have to look at the entire narrative of the Bible. Like you'll hear progressive. I remember one time I was having a debate with a progressive pastor. Well, abortion's not in the Bible. He was shocked. I conceded the point. Yeah, you're right. That word is not in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
However, the Bible has a lot to say about the sanctity of life. It has a lot to say about we are made in the image of God.
Yep.
It has a lot to say how we're supposed to treat everyone. Uh, it, so yeah, you're correct. That word is not in the Bible.
Yeah.
Same thing with marriage. They'll go, well, there's a whole thing called red letter Christians. They only follow the words of the red letters in the Bible.
Yeah.
Which Jesus has thousands of references to the Old Testament, but that argument
Right.
will never hold weight with people for
You
some
know,
reason.
you know what other word is not in the Bible?
What?
Trinity.
Oh yeah, I had that discussion before.
The principle is, I mean, you see the
Through the whole
Trinity.
thing.
You see the Trinity at the baptism of Christ.
Yeah.
But the word is not there. So there are a lot of words that don't appear in the Bible, but the principles do. Like you said,
Absolutely.
like abortion.
Yeah. Marriage.
Yep.
Jesus. Well, that one's an easy one because Jesus literally says a man leaves his family
Yeah.
to join with his wife.
Yeah.
That one's an easy one.
Wife, feminine, singular in the Greek,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, we can. So that brings us to circle all the way back around to what the Democrats are doing following this
Yeah.
redistricting. And again, it's about the ideology and just the inability to be serious. So if you're if you're watching, we're going to play it. A lot of people listen, so if you don't listen, or sorry, if you're not watching the video, the first filing. So what they're trying to do is get a stay from the U.S. Supreme Court, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but the odds of that happening, the Supreme Court stepping in and telling a state Supreme Court that they don't understand their own constitution
Yeah.
is small.
I think I've got a better chance of sprouting wings and flying home.
But you do get that option.
Yeah.
We do live in America. Again, you got to play by the Constitution. So the first one, he misspells Virginia and senator. So we'll put that up on the screen. Oops, wrong one. I had it pulled up. Misspelling. There we go. Man, I was so excited. Why is it only doing that one? The beauty of editing.
The beauty of live.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching live, sorry. There we go. We'll edit that other part out. Yeah. So you can see Virginia's misspelled. Senator is misspelled. This was sent to the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah. You know, I had no idea until I read Jay Jones's appeal that I lived in Virginia and that we had senators.
I mean, this isn't like a typo you did in a text to your wife.
No.
This is sent to the highest court in the country.
Yeah.
What are we? We're laughing stocks.
Yeah.
Of a nation.
I mean, I'm not quite sure how Jay Jones can walk in his office.
He's the highest attorney in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and he misspelled Virginia and senator.
Yeah. It's incredible.
How does that? I don't even understand how that happens.
It's incredible. I mean, because the word, every word processor out there. I mean, he missed. Not only did he misspell it, but he missed the red squiggly lines under the word too. Evidently.
Yeah, it's not like you have to handwrite it.
Yeah, right. And then it's not only his incompetence, but the incompetence of his staff. Because I would certainly hope that he would have somebody proof this stuff, and then they missed it.
Yeah, who proofread it? Even my son has my wife and I proofread his projects before he turns them in for school. He's 11.
That's just smart.
He's in 5th grade.
Because when I write something, when I write a capital alert, I know what it's supposed to say, and so I can overlook words that are misspelled or grammar that's off. So I have to have somebody else, an independent person who doesn't know what I'm trying to say, read it to make sure that all the words are spelled right and all the grammar is right. And for the attorney general to send an appeal to the United States Supreme Court and the word Virginia and the word senator is spelled incorrectly is, in my estimation, what his administration will be known for.
Yeah.
Especially if the Supreme Court rules the way we think they're going to rule. Because then the Democrats will come and say, well, if he had spelled senator right, they may have ruled in our favor. Right?
Yeah, that's what the argument will be. The Supreme Court will say no, and they'll say, well, if we just would have gotten Virginia and senator correct, this would have gone in our favor. They'll find anything to make it sound correct.
Yep.
So then following that, he did fix the spelling errors. But he still couldn't get it correct. So again, if you're listening, you can look this up. But if you're watching the video, I'm going to put it on the screen. He then sent another document to the Supreme Court, but forgot to take Virginia Supreme Court. So he copy and pasted. Something we all do, by the way. Just not to the highest court, again, in the land. So we'll put this one up on the screen. So there you can see it's highlighted on emergency application to the Supreme Court of Virginia. It's supposed to be the Supreme Court of the United States.
Mercy.
2 in a row.
Yeah. You're 0 for 2 there, Jay. I guess Todd Gilbert is probably as thankful that your aim is as bad as your grammar.
Yeah, so let's dive in a little bit on who our attorney general is. I don't think a lot of people probably. So he is famous for the violent texts, um, in which I'm not going to read the texts. They're bad.
Yeah.
He called for the killing of children. Um, Even worse than that in some cases. How he got elected in the first place is really an indictment on us as a people. It's also an indictment on the Democrats, by the way. They should have called for him to pull out of the race. That shouldn't have been. Again,
Right.
like we were talking about on the phone earlier today, like we're just not serious people anymore.
Yeah.
If the Democrats were serious people, well, one, they would have spelled Virginia correctly, or senator, or the right court filing. But it never would have happened in the first place because they should have said, you need to go sit down. We can't have this. You're done. This is why you can know for a fact that they're not playing by the same set of rules that the rest of us are attempting to play by.
Yeah.
But in case you don't know who he is, let's dive into it a little bit. One, he's at least on record has never, and I searched and went pretty deep, at least on record, he's never tried a case, at least as the attorney of record in public record. Now, whether he was like an assistant or something, I have no idea.
He was he's a former assistant attorney general.
Yes.
From Norfolk. But you're right. There's no public record that he ever tried or argued a case independent. He was never lead counsel. Now, we're not saying he didn't second chair. That's what they call it legally,
Right.
in legalities. We're not saying he didn't sit second chair, but he is the top lawyer.
Yeah.
And he, like you just said, Will, he never independently argued a case as lead counsel. He's out of his element. He's over his head.
Yeah.
In what he's doing right now. And that's why he makes stupid mistakes like he did twice this week. It's because he's over his head.
Oh, he's way in over his head. So he was he worked in the attorney general's office in DC. But what he did there was civil rights, police oversight work. He did some stuff with the consent decree of compliance with the Cleveland Police Department while he was in DC. And then after that, he went to the House of Delegates. He ran in 2025. He ran and lost. The first time he ran for Attorney General, he got defeated, and then he ran again in 2025. Here's what he did, though, in his legal career: government legal work, civil enforcement, consumer protection, policy, litigation, support roles. And there's nothing wrong with doing this as a lawyer, but it doesn't translate to being the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
No, I mean, if you are a patent lawyer, that's noble work. That's fine. People need to get patents, but doesn't mean you go to the highest, be the top cop in a commonwealth or a state. I mean, the guy went to William and Mary.
Yep.
And I think he went to University of Virginia Law.
He did.
Didn't he? But I don't know.
Yeah. So some of his work in DC was consumer protection enforcement. He unsuccessfully tried to be part of the legal team representing in NAACP. I always have a hard time with that one. When Governor Youngkin did some voter registration removals with Jason Miyares, they sued. They got defeated in court, and the removals proceeded. Again, he wasn't the lead on there. He also pushed, while he was in the House of Delegates, one of our favorite topics, soft on crime policies. He pushed a lot of soft on justice reform is what they call it. He pushed a lot of those bills. Again, everything he's done is legislative work. Um, we have a crisis in Virginia of soft on crime policies to the point where tomorrow at 10 a.m., the Fairfax DA and the sheriff are both going to be in Congress testifying
Yeah.
about what is going on in Fairfax. That's what's been allowed to happen.
Yeah.
That the federal government has to step in.
Yeah. Because remember, Steve Desconis, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that his practice since 2020 has been that he wants his lawyers to take into consideration how any charges they bring against an illegal would affect their legal status.
Matter of fact, it was on his website up until about a week ago.
Amazing that it got taken down.
It's
that's the wonderful thing though about computers. Somebody can find it.
Oh, it was I figured enough people were probably emailing that guy, so I never did. But I mean, maybe I should have. But yeah, up until about a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that time frame, he took it off his website. It was on his website that immigration status was a part of how they considered to bring charges or not.
Yeah. And that's a violation of the Civil Rights, Article 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's a violation of the Safe Street Act. And and basically those things say that you cannot rule or treat somebody based on religion, sex, color of their skin, or you've got to treat everyone equal under the law.
Well, you and I think that.
Yeah.
Well, so does the Department of Justice because he has a civil rights. Steve DeSano has a civil rights investigation opened up on him. And again, yeah. So if people care to watch, because it is part of our Virginia situation, 10 o'clock tomorrow, they have to go in front of Congress. But it all stems from all this George Soros money coming in. Steve DeSano publicly took $627,653.
Wow.
In campaign donations.
And just so I get this right for our viewers, the civil rights, because I kind of, you can go ahead and tell me, you kind of butchered that up there,
it's all good.
Michael. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title 6, it basically says this in everyday language. If the local government office receives federal money, which the Commonwealth Attorney's Office does,
yep,
it cannot treat people differently because of race, color, or national origin. And that goes both ways, positively and negatively. I can't treat you bad because you're from El Salvador, for example.
Right.
Or I can't treat you favorably when the law says I have to do this way. I can't. If the law says I have to punish you, I can't treat you favorably because you're from San Salvador or wherever you're from. So that's one of the policies that they say that he has violated.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens because he absolutely did. You can look up his prosecutorial record. It's all public record. It's I'll think of it in a second. There's a Latin term he uses a lot to where he gets away.
And while you're looking that up, they're also saying he violated the Safe Streets Act that I just mentioned. Basically, that says if a prosecutor's office, law enforcement agency, or criminal justice program receives certain federal criminal justice funds from the federal government, it cannot discriminate in how it provides justice or service. And that's justice not only for the person that's being charged, that's justice for the people that he serves. So he violated not only Section 6 of the Civil Rights Act, but he also violated the Safe Streets Act because he is bound by law, if nothing else, because he receives criminal justice funds from the federal government. He's got to keep the people he serves safe,
Yeah,
which he did not do.
definitely
He's
not.
He is guilty as sin.
Yeah.
I'm just anxious to see what they're going to, if anything, actually will become of it.
Yeah. So what he uses is null prosequi, and what it means is, well, literally, it means to be unwilling to prosecute. That's what it means literally from Latin. But it's out of a Virginia code. It doesn't mean that someone's innocent. It just means that they're not going to prosecute.
Yeah.
And if you go look at his prosecutorial record, it is littered with that. And we're not talking about like small charges either. We're talking about big time felonies. And how this is possible, I have no idea why that's even a thing. I would have, I don't know. I don't know. I took the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. I took it very seriously. I take my role as a father and a husband to protect my family very seriously. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine being a prosecutor and not taking that seriously and protecting people, regardless of politics. Same thing as Attorney General and Jay Jones. How do you not take that seriously? How do you not go to your party and go, you are making a mockery of the Constitution right now?
Yeah.
But he didn't. As a matter of fact, he did the opposite and tried to argue that all this redistricting stuff was good to go, and that the courts, some rogue court, well, it's not a rogue court, it's the Virginia Supreme Court, is overturning the will of the people, which is just simply not true. And but also for people to know as well, because no one ever reads and does research anymore. The court even laid out in the briefing how to do it correctly.
Mhm.
They never said you couldn't redistrict. They said the way you did it was unconstitutional. And they even told you how to do it constitutionally.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of, people want, it's rules for thee, but not for me. I will do what I want.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Constitution. I don't care about, that's what their attitude is.
Well, the interesting thing about Steve Descano and him going before the Judiciary Committee tomorrow in Washington is, as you read the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia in Section 24.2, I appreciate what the Judiciary Committee is doing, but they can't do anything about it.
No.
Because in order for him to be removed from office, first of all, a petition has to be signed by registered voters in that jurisdiction that equals, this is according to the Constitution, that equals 10% of the total votes cast at the last election for that office. So let's make it easy. So if 20,000 people cast the votes in the last election for Steve Descano, 200 people have to sign a petition, and then it has to go to trial, and then it has to be proven by clear and convincing evidence. Now, in law, there are two different conclusions. There's clear and convincing evidence, and there's most everybody knows is beyond a reasonable doubt. Unfortunately, when you're talking about a Commonwealth attorney, clear and convincing evidence is the lower of the two burden of proofs. Without a reasonable doubt requires a great deal, a more proof than just clear and convincing evidence. Clear and convincing evidence basically says, well, it's reasonable. It's a high probability that he did this. Whereas beyond a reasonable doubt is, there's absolutely no question. I am fully convinced. I'm firmly convinced. There's absolutely no reasonable explanation of anything else than his guilt. So that could work in our favor, because the burden of proof is lower by the prosecutor. But so it'd be, like I said, it'd just be interesting what happens in Washington tomorrow, because the Judiciary Committee really can't do anything about it. As far as, I guess they could I guess they could hold him federally liable because he violated the Constitution, because he has to take an oath of office to
Right.
uphold the Constitution of the United States. So I guess they could find him federally liable, but that doesn't remove him from office. Now, there is a thing in the code of Virginia where there's a forfeiture after certain criminal convictions. So, according to 24.2-231 of the Code of Virginia, that a public officer forfeits office if he is convicted of a felony of certain offenses. So we'll see what happens.
So he ran unopposed in 2023 general election. He was opposed in the primary, the Democratic primary, but he won. And he got 229,735 votes. That's a lot of signatures you're going to need to go get do something about
Yeah,
it.
it's almost 3,000 signatures, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why people have to start getting involved and paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
These things matter greatly because the aftermath is what we have now. And none of these policies ever go well. But we're also in a different kind of, there used to be a social fabric, right, that made up our society. Whether we all agreed or not is one thing, but there was an understanding,
Yeah.
and a fabric that made it up to where we could have these discussions. That's gone.
Mhm.
It's been long gone. You can tell again, it not in my lifetime, there would have been a time when Jay Jones was not allowed to even run. Not just because of his prosecutorial record, which is zero. That probably would have been more of a debate some time ago. But because of the text messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either party would have said, you've got to go sit down.
Can you imagine if Jay Jones had been a Republican,
Oh my
how
goodness.
the left would have come after him?
Yeah, it would have been crazy. And same thing with Desano. There would have been a time when these types of things just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's not like miscarriage of justice in our past or anything like that, but the amount, or not necessarily the amount, but the intent. Well, I'm not going to prosecute these people.
Yeah.
And it's all bought and paid for. That part is not conspiracy.
No, I mean, well, you
It's
sent
all
me that.
public
You
record.
sent me that yesterday
Yeah.
of all the money George Soros is. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, I saved it, but I don't know that I have it up.
Yeah, Discasano from Fairfax, and he's not the only one, is a George Soros prosecutor. I got some of the numbers right here.
Okay.
His was $627,653. Came from the Justice and Public Safety PAC, which is linked back to the Soros money. Arlington Falls Church, your Commonwealth's attorney, also received a ton of money, actually.
Wow.
From the same PAC. Loudoun County, same thing. That was almost $1 million, $926,056. Norfolk, same thing. And then there's some different ones for governors. Tim Kaine took Soros money.
I remember one term, Tom, right up there.
Yeah.
They got almost $400,000 from George Soros.
Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you have to like dive in and do the research, because I did some more like back, because I don't really know that much. It was normally a West Coast thing, but now it's on the East Coast. But just in Fairfax and Arlington, it's over $1 million he spent. But he runs it through different PACs and different nonprofits, so it funnels differently. And so these people are taking money. And that's what they're doing.
You know, it makes you kind of wish, well, not kind of, it makes you wish that we would have some type of laws that you can't receive outside funding for your campaign.
Yeah.
If you don't have the money, the capital yourself to run a campaign, first of all, there'd be a whole lot less television commercials
Oh my goodness.
if these people had to use their own money. But they wouldn't be holding to anyone once they got elected. I mean, why do you think? Why do we think that the Democrats are uh, so in tune to Planned Parenthood? Now, it's partially because they really do believe that abortion should be a choice.
Yeah.
Because because some type of a moral discrepancy or lack thereof in their hearts. But Planned Parenthood gave $1 billion
Yeah.
to the 2025 election in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. How much money does Dominion Power give Democrat voters? How much money is
Oh, I can tell you that.
how much money does the casinos give? Does MGM or Hard Rock Cafe give Democrat voters to try to get their casinos, or Republicans for that matter, as far as that's concerned, to get their casinos in districts throughout the Commonwealth?
Dominion Energy's given over $2 million
Yeah.
in various different political donations.
And it's not quid pro quo. It's quid pro quo.
Oh, absolutely.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And they don't give that money out of the goodness of their hearts.
Well, and this is why people need to like pay attention and do research. Like people are saying, Governor Spanberger did a bait and switch, which is fine. I understand the argument because I watched the campaign and I understand what she ran on. She also took George Soros' money. I knew from the beginning it wasn't a bait and switch type of situation, because we know what she is or what he is about, and that's the funny part too. Is people will be like, "Well, I'm tired of white people talking about who I should vote for." That dude is literally buying elections. He's a white guy.
Yeah.
His whole family is white guys.
Yeah.
You can look all this up. They run most of their stuff through. Let me scroll back up. They run most of their stuff through Open Society Foundations is where you can find a lot of different things. And they do, guess what they do? Voting access. What are we having a big problem with? Voting access. They do criminal justice reform. You've got a prosecutor going to Congress tomorrow. Immigration advocacy, democracy initiatives, progressive prosecutor campaigns is the big one they do, though. That's their big thing that they focus on is local prosecutor campaigns. It's all funded. Every single one of it is money sent in by these people. And again, people to wake up. It's mostly local elections that they send money into.
Yeah.
The vast majority of it.
Who did you say George Soros put most of his money through? Who's it called?
The most of it goes through what is called the Open Society Foundation.
Okay.
That's a whole other interesting, no boundary borders. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like real super progressive, like one nation kind of situation.
Right.
Mexico and America would be like the same or whatever. Like you can get into some odd stuff. It's a global network.
Yeah.
He founded it in 1984. It's one of the world's largest private funders of initiatives. And it's active in 120 countries.
Wow.
Yes. He gave 32 billion by himself.
Mercy. Is it?
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
And so when you see 8,000 Democrat commercials, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
They have money to spend.
Yep. Yep.
Tons of money. Hedge fund guy.
Yeah.
But that's where a lot of the money comes from in our local elections.
Well, when you talked about a few moments ago the George Soros and the legal things, it made my mind went back to Ray Cousins, because Ray Cousins, of course, she's a delegate from Richmond City,
Yeah.
and she patroned the bill that would reduce mandatory minimums
Oh, that's a big
on
one.
many crimes. That
Yeah.
got continued to next session, and when I brought that up in one of the weapons bills one of the gun bills that I was debating against, and I brought up the fact, we're wanting to disarm law-abiding citizens, but we're wanting to talk about legislation, and she was on the committee, but we want to talk about legislation that would reduce the mandatory minimum for armed robbery. Boy, I got some dagger looks from her, but she received from Sonja Smith. Sonja Smith she's a major Virginia Democratic progressive donor, and she gave to Ray Cousins. She gave $136,900. Now, in the Virginia campaign, that's a lot of money. That's not a lot of money for necessarily a national campaign compared to what George Soros does, but in a state campaign, when you only have to run in a particular district,
oh yeah,
you could finance your whole campaign on $136,900 in a district. And this donor is all about, believe it or not, she is all about immigration. So she gives might as well say $137,000 to a Democratic candidate, and she's all about immigration. How do you think that candidate is going to vote on should ICE cooperate with the state police? Should the Virginia National Guard be able to cooperate with ICE? How do you think she's going to vote when she just received $137,000 from a single voter, a single, I'm sure voter, but a single donor whose one of her platforms is immigration? And see, that's why I say between Sonja Smith and Care in Action, Ray Cousins received almost $250,000 in donations in her 2025 run for re-election of the House of Delegates. And so that's why I say that I sure do wish that we could go back to the days of campaigning where you had to finance your own campaign, and where the people had to do the majority of the work to find out what position you took, rather than your position coming into their living room 3 or 4 times, 5 times a night, or 4 or 5 times every commercial break.
So they are connected to, she is, and her husband are connected to a political organization called Clean Virginia.
Yes.
And they came to, well, it was founded in 2018. They donate to campaigns. They run ads. They donate, they endorse people. I'm pulling up their, here we go. $20 million since 2018. Over 20 million.
To who?
All kinds of places.
Okay.
Somewhere around $27.6 million raised. They've donated somewhere. Here we go. Financially supported Jay Jones, Abigail Spanberger. I'm gonna Lieutenant Governor Hashmi. I don't want to destroy her first name. And a bunch of House delegates, like you just pointed out. All through clean Virginia. He gave Jay Jones $1 million in the AG race. In the 2020, the last cycle that we had, $6.45 million donated. That's a lot.
That's huge. And every dime that they give makes you holden to them.
Yeah, it does.
So when we have a clean energy bill, which is why we're in Reggie again.
Yep.
When you have a clean energy bill, you better vote for it, because, lady, we gave you $250,000 for your campaign. Or they make a deal beforehand. If we'll give you $250,000 for your campaign, which is what this organization, which is what Clean Energy, or not Clean Energy, what Clean Virginia gave to Ray Cousins, $243,000 and some odd. They make these deals that, hey, if we give you $243,000, this is the bill that's coming up.
Yeah.
You better vote yes for it.
Yeah. And so this coming from the party that claims that democracy is falling. Sorry. My allergies are almost done. First off, we don't live in a democracy. For the love of Peter, please, someone read a book.
Yeah, really.
We live in a constitutional republic. It has been like that since the beginning.
Yep.
It is never once. A democracy means that everyone gets the same equal vote.
Mm-hmm.
The Greeks tried it. It worked for a little bit, and then not so much. That's why we have a constitutional republic. The Greeks tried it a long time ago, by the way, for people listening. If you don't know, that's totally okay. It didn't happen for very long. So when they keep saying save the democracy, we don't even have a democracy.
No.
But where we really need to save our democracy from, if we had one, is buying people.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have a conversation with guys like you and I, an honest conversation, when they know what they have to vote from the get-go.
Correct.
That's why she put us back in that clean energy thing or whatever it was immediately.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first things that she did.
What's that? The Regional Green Gas Initiative. Yeah. Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to make everybody's power bill go up about 5%, 5 to 10% a month.
Yeah. And that's why they're doing the windmill thing. Are they still doing that?
They're talking about it, but, I don't see a whole lot of wind out there today, Will. I mean, I guess our studio next week's not going to have any windows in it, but
no.
Kingdom Politics is moving, by the way.
Yeah. We got a studio.
Yeah.
We're going to be fancy.
I tell you what.
We're moving on up in the world.
Nothing short about us but our hair.
Oh, man. Maybe Clean Virginia will give us $20 million.
Maybe we ought to ask.
We should. I don't think they will.
No, I doubt it. Well, talking about fairness, or talking about, what do you think about what the phone call that Hakeem Jeffries had with certain top-level Democrats, which, by the way, Scott Suravel was on that phone call. I don't know if Abigail Spanberger was on that phone call or not, but there's some evidence that Scott Suravel was on that phone call. It doesn't surprise me. It's not really makes him more of an evil of a ruler than he was anyway. But so we don't get our way. We break the law.
Yeah.
Okay. We get caught breaking the law because we know we're breaking the law. We just hope nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
They are paying attention. We get caught. We get our hands smacked back to the Stone Ages. And so our response is, okay, well, I tell you what, we'll just lower the retirement age of court justices from 73 to 54. And where did they come with 54, Will? That's the age of the youngest justice.
Yep.
And so it would wipe out the entire Supreme Court of Virginia, even the 3 that voted for us.
Yeah.
so we can put in our own people and have the case reheard again. This is how the left, this is how the progressives operate.
Yeah, they think they play by their own rules and that they're not there representing. They've forgotten why they are there. They've forgotten what the job title is that they have, which is Senatard or whatever he wrote in the brief to the Supreme
Oh, you're talking
Court.
about Senator?
Senator, yes, or delegates. They are there to represent people. They have forgotten that. Instead, what they are doing is trying to consolidate as much power as humanly possible. And then when they don't get their way, and again, like we're just not serious people. We're not going to follow the law. We got caught, and then now what we're going to do is come up with childlike. It's like, you know what? When my kid was like 3 and 4, he would make up his own games. But if I was winning, he would change the rules of the game so that he would come back into the lead constantly. It was terrible playing because you could never win because he always changed the rules.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
We're pretending that we're 3 and 4 year olds.
Yeah.
And we didn't like the outcome, so we're going to change the rules to fit the outcome that we need.
Yeah.
And we're not adults.
No. We live in a commonwealth, Will, that has serious problems, and we need serious people.
Yeah.
Not children. Not children that are going to take their toys and leave the sandbox or try to redesign the sandbox. You know, you won't play with me the way I want to play. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll just empty the sandbox and bring him my own sand. You know, that's childish. You got caught breaking the law. You violated the Constitution. You violated Article 12, Section 1 of the Virginia Constitution, and you got caught.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to try this again, there's no law that says you can't. But here's how you need to do it, which was what the majority opinion was.
They told them.
Yeah, this is how you need to do it. I think it was Jason Maurice that actually said, you know, if the Democrats had listened to what he said back in November of last year, they wouldn't have had to spend $70 million, Will, just to have broken the law. And how much of that was from George Soros? 20?
20 was from him, and then it was some other donors. It ended up being more than you and I said on the show. I think I was saying projecting 50, and it ended up being even more than that. It ended up being with a price tag of 70 for all the things they did. But that's not. It's like between 5 and 10 million. They don't even know yet for the state that the state paid. The taxpayers paid $5 to $10 million for all the elections. Because it was a referendum, so they had to have elections in every place. That costs money.
Yeah, and if it now, I know the physical statement in the General Assembly said $5 million for the referendum, but it would surprise me at all if they went over it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be higher. I don't. The last time I checked the other day, all the numbers weren't in from the different. All the counties. I love Paul. I want to read 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
We have a lack of men not being children anymore.
Yeah. And that was just one of their thoughts. Okay. So their second thought was going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And overturning. Now, get this, folks. Going on, if you follow VAIB or past Will, I'm sure you've seen where we've said something on it. They go back. They want to go back to the 2020 referendum and overturn that referendum
6 years ago.
6 years down the road, get this, because it violated 30-13 of the Code of Virginia. We didn't give the 90-day notice when we brought the referendum to the people in 2020. So we violated 30-13. Well, isn't it amazing, Will, that when we're fast forward to the end of 2025, when we're trying to bring this resolution the Democrats are telling me, oh, Michael, 30-13 is archaic. It was taken out of the state constitution back in 1971,
Yeah.
irregardless of the fact it's still in code.
Yeah.
Okay. If the Constitution doesn't override the code, then the code stands. But now all of a sudden they want to go back
Yeah.
and get rid of the redistricting commission that 99 out of 100 districts precincts voted for, and want to do that based on 30-13. What? Okay. Well, not only are they being inconsistent of their usage on 30-13 because they want to use it to go back, but they don't want to use it. They didn't want to use it to bring theirs in. But what happened to the will of the people? They've been crying about the will.
It's only the will of the people.
Yeah,
if it's for them.
Yeah, they've been crying about the will of the people since Friday at 10:30.
Yeah.
But now they want to go back saying, well, the Supreme Court overrode the will of the people. But you want to go back and get rid of what 99 out of 100 districts voted for. What about the will of the people, guys?
Nope.
Not only are they not serious, but they're they're consistently not serious, but they're consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, because it's childish logic.
The only thing they're consistent in is being inconsistent and illogical.
Yeah, it's the logic of a child. They don't. And you see it all over the place. Like Nick Minock just reported yesterday that in Loudoun County Public Schools, a transgender student, that's all we know so far, photograph. What am I? It's not the 1910s. I don't know why I said that. Videoed, yeah. There's upwards of 40 victims.
Wow.
And apparently it's been going on for 3 years and the schools knew about it. And nobody did anything. Not a principal, not an adult male who's in charge. And now that superintendent has to go before Congress. That has not been scheduled as far as I know yet. But that school superintendent is now also being called in front of Congress. Same thing, whether they can do anything or not. I have no idea.
The parents of those victims ought to sue the school board, the superintendent personally, the principal of the school, the assistant principal of the school. It's incredible. And those are areas of the Commonwealth run by Democrats.
Yeah. And people, let me tell you, it heads south. All of our rural brothers and sisters in Christ, this stuff runs downhill. But yeah, it's not like, regardless of what you think about transgender ideology, that's fine. We can have that discussion. But you shouldn't photograph people in a bathroom.
Exactly. I'm surprised that they didn't. I'm surprised that they're not going after the students that were photographed like they did in Fairfax. Is that Fairfax that happened?
No, that was also Loudoun.
That was also Loudoun.
They suspended the 3 boys for reporting themselves being videoed in the, I believe it was the locker room, the boys' locker room,
Amazing.
and they were suspended for reporting it. They sued and won. Family Foundation did that one.
Yeah.
But where
they were suspended for tattling.
Yeah. Are we not supposed to protect children?
Snitches get stitches, brother.
It's crazy. The ideology will make you, I don't know. I don't understand the mentality of not protecting kids.
You know, I go back to what John Kennedy said. Lord, give me patience, because if you give me strength, I'm going to need bail money.
Yeah. For the life of me, I don't understand how a principal goes to work every day. I don't know who the principal even is of that school. I'm sure somebody can Google it. Has those things reported, which is what is being reported in the news.
Yeah.
And can just deny it. Like, you're literally, I mean, I'm not a school administrator, but I would imagine the main majority of your job is to make sure the kids are safe.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's 80 to 90% of your job.
Yeah.
I know when I drop my kid off at school, I am trusting that he's going to be safe there.
Yeah.
If something like that happened to my kid, I would step in, but that hasn't happened, thankfully. But it's just the Democrats are not. Again, it's not even. I don't even think you can call them Democrats anymore.
No.
That party is flown the coop.
Yeah. You saying that if that happened to your kid, it reminded me of a lady in the airport when I was traveling. She got caught up in TSA for secondary screening. 90-year-old lady.
Really?
Secondary screening. I mean, she could wear a necklace of box cutters and wouldn't be dangerous. And you know what she said? She said, "I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. If I miss my flight, I'm gonna kill some people." And she missed her flight.
I bet she did.
But yeah, if something like that happens to my kid, my child, I would absolutely go ballistic.
Oh yeah, I would go crazy. One time I was flying. We're going off the rails now. I flew to Greece,
fault.
and I had some Middle Eastern countries on my passport, and they pulled me aside.
Really?
Oh yeah, they took me to an office.
Terrorist.
Yeah, they interrogated me. They let me in. I was fine. I was there for reasons that were approved,
Okay.
and but I was with my family when I went to Greece, and they all just cruised right in because they had clean passports. But not me.
Wow.
And in front of everyone, they're like, "Sir, you need to come talk to us." And my mom was freaking out, and I was only back there for a few minutes though. Like I just explained what it was, and
Yeah.
they let me in. But
I had this preacher friend tell me that he was on an airplane. I don't know where. I can't remember where he was flying, but TSA began to search him, and the guy that was searching his bag found nail clippers. Well, he just went crazy. He said, "What are these?" And the preacher friend from mine was from Tennessee,
yeah,
and he's a smart aleck. And he says, "You know what? I shouldn't have said this, but my lips were already moving." And the TSA guy said, "What are these?" And my buddy said, "Well, in Tennessee, we call those nail clippers." What do you? Then he said, "What are you going to do with them?" He said, "Well, I thought that," and this is when he told me. He said, "Well, Michael, I should have shut up, and my lips were already moving." He said, "Well, I thought that after the plane took off, I would use them to work my way through the fuselage."
I don't think you can say that.
He said, "I saw a look on his face." He said, "I just found me a room and got naked by myself." And just yeah, we're off the rails, Will.
I was active duty, and it was me and a buddy of mine. We were on a commercial flight, and we are the only two active. It was a short flight. It was Denver to Colorado Springs, or the other way around. I can't remember which. It's a short flight though, but there was something wrong with the plane, so they had to turn it around. And then they didn't let us off the plane. I guess it was a quick fix. They never told us. But this guy was getting really agitated, like he was getting pretty upset. And so then we ended up taking off again, and the stewardess came back to me and my buddy, and the guy was still like like agitated. And she's like, "Hey, can you guys help me?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" I guess there was no like air marshal or anybody else really like on that plane. And she's like, "Well, that guy is like really upset. Like if something happens, like I need your help."
Right.
We're like, "Do you want us to do what? What do you want us to do?" Like, so anyway, long story short, we just moved seats next to him, and then he calmed down, and we didn't have to do anything. But
Intimidation set in immediately.
yeah,
He rethought the decisions of his life.
yeah, I got deputized for
really.
like a half an hour flight. That was a weird.
Yeah, I bet.
Anyway, so yeah, the logic of the left, but we could probably close up. You got any final thoughts before we?
No, I think we covered everything from senators to air marshals.
Yeah, we really were getting the gamut today. This show's getting fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I'm totally enjoying myself. It don't matter if anybody else does. I'm enjoying myself.
Oh yeah, all I ever have. Numbers are numbers. Let's see. I don't really have anything to plug. We're gonna move to an actual studio. Hopefully we'll be from there next week.
Yeah.
But it might take us a week to get it together. So maybe we're back here, but maybe not. But we're definitely moving. I don't have anything coming up for a while, a couple weeks. I just did a bunch of stuff right in a row. That sounded like a really good plan on paper. And the execution, it was not the best plan.
Yeah, I get it.
Um,
Well, your board is a lot cleaner than it was last week when we were here.
oh yeah, because I was actually in my office for longer than 8 minutes and could clean it and get organized again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big whiteboard guy. I like whiteboards. You got anything to plug?
No, that's it. Just if you'd like to get on our capital alerts from the VAIB, and what we do on those is we just let you know what's going on in Richmond. We send them out about every day, but several times a week. And we give you different articles on law and how it relates to the Word of God and things. If you'd like to receive those, you can email us your email address and your name at director@vaib.org. If you want to check out the Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists and what we do to protect your religious liberty, go to vaib.org. And if you want to contact me directly, 804-960-4014. I do answer my phone, and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you, Will, for spearheading this. It's enjoyable. I look forward to it every week.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome. Okay. I hope everyone has an awesome week, and we will see you next week. And we'll close with Spurgeon as usual. Oh wait, I gotta hit live.
And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Rise up, Christ one, only bow to his throne, Satan. Try and temper, he ain't loud in my home, all fact. Keep it real, spirit send me not alone.